Be sure to subscribe for all things Nintendo Switch all the time. The most engaged comments each month will win a free Switch game. I won't lie, I loved Pokémon Go and the older Pokémon Gold and Silver on the Game Boys. What I do not love, in fact, what I despise, are free-to-play games. So you'll have to excuse me if the idea of a free-to-start, seriously Nintendo, Switch game doesn't exactly fill me with joy. Hopefully I'm wrong and this is an amazing Pokémon game in its own right. Or maybe this is a ploy from Team Rocket to destroy the world. Let's find out. Your adventure begins on Tumblecube Island, under the story of, look, there's a cool island, you need to explore it for loot. And this is where things will instantly become either refreshing or worrying. Around the world, Pokemon in blocky forms roam free. Picking from one of 5 starter Pokemon, including the very familiar 3 starting Pokemon from those older class games, with the addition of Pikachu, of course, and Eevee, right off the bat you're launched into a battle. My first gripe is the flipping camera. It tries to pan out, but if your Pokemon run off in all directions, it just can't zoom far enough and you end up losing some of them off the edge of the screen. You sit back and watch as your chosen Pokemon run around the blocky environment attacking whoever they want without your input. They continue this headless chicken dance until they win or lose by defeating the boss. You spam their special attack buttons. Fear not though, you're not completely useless. No, there are those special abilities when they're charged. You can also tell your Pokemon to essentially flee from conflict, but other than that, no, you do nothing in combat. Seriously. I found that sometimes single members of my Pokemon lineup would try and charge in like John Wick, 2-on-1 or 3-on-1, except they're not John Wick, they're fluffy Pokemon, and my poor little fellows look like Conor McGregor in the 10th round against Floyd. Things do not go well at all, and the lack of any real control becomes painfully evident early on in the game. Now before I get attacked by superfans, I better say something positive. Essentially, what Nintendo have done is to water down the combat section and make it less of a focus. Instead, focusing on the core experience of leveling up your Pokemon through stat improvements and gaining new Pokemon. This is still fun and it will always be fun. Thank goodness this mechanic is still intact. They also added a cooking mechanic to it whereby the battles provide ingredients. You then use these to cook up new meals to attract unique Pokemon. Now, these aren't inherently time-based, you actually have to complete levels to finish them, so your cooking can be finished by playing the game, but also it can be finished with the tokens, which you can buy. You can see where this is going. But props to Nintendo for at least having a nice idea and a good way to encourage continued play without necessarily having to buy token packs. There is a surprisingly deep set of stats in the game. You can tweak and adjust your team based on these to make the best possible combos for battles. But the whole thing felt a little shallow to me, as the core combat was actually one of my favourite aspects of earlier games. Here you have to find the majority of your fun from other areas, which were never the ones that really attracted me. Gone are the stories of gym trainers ruling with an iron fist and you having to overthrow them. Instead you have this vague sense of place and a nice gameplay loop that just seems like one of those pop songs that puts on a little saxophone riff and everyone's like, yeah, this is the best thing ever for about a week, and then they're all bored. The controls are tight and the game fully utilises the touch screen, or you can use the analog sticks to control a mouse-like cursor. Gameplay overall scores 15 out of 20. It is fun, it's an addictive game loop, that's exactly what they've created, an addiction loop. But it's just too contrived for my liking. Gotta catch 'em all has become gotta cook 'em all. I can see it getting boring really fast. The controls on the other hand score 10 out of 20. Too much control is out of your hands and I dislike that immensely. One really big positive is the music. It's an absolute delight and it's classic Pokemon. The start screen filled me with hope and wonder and really does a good job of the early feel of the game. In this regard it certainly lives up to the franchise's name. It's upbeat, light-hearted and optimistic. Everything I used to be before marriage. I'm only joking, this last part is definitely a joke, wife. definitely a joke. I'll get the spare room ready. Overall for me, music scores 17 out of 20. The graphics also are very cute. It does look like the developers kidnapped the lead artist on Crossy Road and forced him to do their evil bidding. Everything follows a consistent aesthetic. It wasn't unpleasant. Very Nintendo. I think younger players are going to love it. The menus are all easy to navigate and everything here works really well. Even statistics are easy to follow and utilise. Graphics then score 15 out of 20. Which takes us on to the last section, which is value. The game is free and that's certainly a bonus and might keep fans going until bigger titles release, but it's just not for me, this one. Also, these things are never truly free, are they? There is the waiting to awake the slumber system that will surely rake in a ton of cash through the PM tickets. While you can get these through normal play, I would say it's only a matter of time before these become purchases, especially when the game is on all platforms. I could be wrong, I bet I'm not. I hope I am though, because I think a big free-to-play on Switch is a bad thing for all of us. Expedition packs can be purchased for £4 to £16, I'm not sure what the dollar equivalent is, and they include these PM tickets, so already the beginnings of the pay-to-win are there. Add to that the cooking system, which can be sped up using these tickets, and you can see exactly what's happening here. Value for me has to score quite highly, 15 out of 20. It's free, I know, but I would rather pay and have a full experience. For me, the term free should only apply to something that is a full package for free. Free to start, free to play, it all means the same to me, it's not free. So on to the final verdict. If you're totally desperate for a Pokemon game, then this will tide you over until the big games launch. I feel pretty skeptical of this one and overall give it a SwitchUp score of 62%. It just feels soulless to me. Don't get me wrong, it is ridiculously addictive, but addictive does not make a good game. It makes a good gambling machine. The addiction loop here is so evident. The actual satisfaction of good rewarding Pokemon adventuring here you shall not find. I'm sure many of you will disagree, but that's just fine. Let me know down in the comments. I'll be giving this to my 4-year-old daughter. She's going to absolutely love it. As always, for all things Nintendo Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. See ya!